Oh, it's still before noon. Good morning, my justice warriors. Holy smokes. I have never had an episode like this. Okay, so I have all kinds of security breaches on my computer. I wonder why that might be. I wonder why that might be. So I'm barely dressed, but at least the girls are under control, right? That's my biggest concern. Um, the lighting's all right, I think. I got just a little bit of glare in one of the glasses. Let's just get on with it. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for being here, you guys. Everything that I say is simply my opinion. It is simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something and crack a code or two, right? All my videos are made specifically for YouTube, which is an entertainment platform. So I see that some of my loyal followers are here, and thank you so much. I love you guys. Um, it's really nice to see you. I wasn't going to mention anything about it because I don't like to give trolls any of my time or attention, but I had to block a handful of them a day or two ago. I think it was just yesterday. But yeah, they might be responsible for some of these security breaches too. There were definitely some MFs in there. And, I was trying to play it cool in the last live. I was trying to pretend like everything was cool. I was thinking, should I just call them out? But like I said, my thing with trolls is that I feel like their goal is simply to get you off track. They don't care how they get you off track. They don't care what track they get you on. They just want you off track. So that means that whatever track you're on is good, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't care. So there is some lighting bothering me. I'm going to dare to mess with it. 1 second, you guys. There's just a flood of light coming from over here, and hopefully that'll make it just a little bit better. I don't want to adjust anything else. It's just too high risk. Goodness gracious, dearie me, my. Uh, I'm getting it. I'm getting a better setup where if I sneeze, it won't all fall apart. So, it's just duct tape and uh, spit and duct tape, right? That's what I hold all this together with. It's what I hold my brain together with. So again, let's try to get on track. Focus, focus, focus. We're 3 minutes in. The trolls are not hijacking this, okay? Crime Story Diva, Marie's adult coloring book, Susan D.A., and Bluestone and Dana, aka Squirrely Burger, Pixie Knicker, Sharon Kenny, A One Way Street, Dana, aka Mary Thomas. You guys, we have like a full house. This is amazing, Bluestone. So yes, hit the like button if you'd be so kind. You know how that helps the channel. Share and subscribe. So if you had a chance to read the description and go to the links while you were waiting forever and a day for me, and I was going to change the time again, to 11:45, but I'm like, no, that takes time to do that, and it's just one thing after another. I think it's good, right? Everything's okay? All right. So, did you see it? Did you see, how the last few days I keep asking you guys if anybody has that TikTok video of a guy with his cell phone, like tape recording his keyboard, and his screen is blank, and you can almost see his reflection, and he's talking kind of low and shaky, and he's giving really intricate details about the unaliving of the Idaho 4. And it sounds like it could be the criminal defendant. So some people thought that it was the criminal defendant. And I don't know. There's this channel that I've been talking about that I am convinced is law enforcement. I'm 100% convinced that it's somebody that works for the Moscow PD. And that most likely the Moscow PD has put them up to it, because if not, that would be a major security breach, and they could get fired. They could probably get sent to jail for something like that. So the voice comparison, of which video did I use? Because you can do it with any of them, of course, any of them at all. I think I used the one with from December 28th with the corner club still shot, December 28th. So like 24 hours after it was released to YouTube. And then 20 seconds in is when he starts talking. But any of those videos on that channel, I think, is a voice match for the guy with the cell phone and the keyboard. What do you think? It's just my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just thinking out loud, right? So, I ended my video yesterday with my biggest issue right now is if the criminal defendant had gotten the job with the Pullman PD, the assistantship, that they say they have no record of, you guys. They say they have no record of what the outcome of his application was ultimately. And that's just not possible. So they're lying, they're hiding something. It could be possible if they destroyed it, if they deleted it, shredded it, that kind of thing. So I guess anything's possible. But why would they be so insanely secretive about saying, "Oh, we didn't hire him"? Yeah, and thank goodness we didn't, because look, right? You would think that they would just want to come forth and say that straight up. But since they haven't said anything, since they simply refuse to even acknowledge that they might have a record of something, you guys, if they had hired him, and like I said, the job was uh, supposed to start August 22nd. He was pulled over for not wearing his seatbelt on August 21st. And getting pulled over for not wearing your seatbelt, in my opinion, is sort of like the cop just wanted to pull you over because they saw that you weren't wearing your seatbelt and they thought, well, this is a good excuse to talk to this person. Just my opinion. Anyway, if he had gotten that position as the assistantship with Pullman PD and he was going over to Moscow, either on his own or as part of the job, or maybe the job started earlier than the 22nd because that was when it was supposed to start. They didn't say when it did start. And that's interesting because why don't they say when it started and who got the job, or if they decided that they weren't going to have an assistantship, right? Can you imagine if they had hired him and if they've been keeping that secret from the public? That would be so explosive. I don't think this is going to be a long video because my virus stuff is not going to allow me to see your comments, you guys. I'm going to try. Oh no. And now it's messing with me more. So I can see some of them. It's just, you know, it's McPhee, it's Microsoft. I don't know if it's the Hamburglar. I don't know what it is. We'll get it figured out, but I can see some of your comments now. Just FYI, my email account hacked from someone. Keep tight security. Yes, I always thought that was true crime time. Dana, why did you always think that? Because and do you know the date of when it won't even let me pin a message? I wanted to pin yours. Do you know the date of when that TikTok video was made? Because Kelly from What's the Obsession, she probably knows the date, and she'll probably email it to me if she hasn't already. And okay, let's see. I'm going to pin that message. Okay, it worked. The voice comparison, right. I also sped up his video at just 1.25, and it sounds like a normal person speaking, whereas the channel voice kind of sounds distorted in a slow way. It absolutely sounds distorted. Yeah, I agree, Dana. You are on it. Good morning, Justice and everyone. Alistair Grant says, good morning. Yes, visual check. Uh, could they have hired him and then embarrassed, deleted his paper trail? Of course. Um, of course. But also, let's just say for a second that they're involved with it and they're trying to use him as a scapegoat. And so they're trying to distance themselves and just say it's all this crazy guy over there that has nothing to do with us. They can't say, "Oh, it's the crazy guy that we hired," or, you know, I really think Kopaka had some kind of involvement in this whole situation, you guys. I really do. That's my spidey sense, my opinion. Um, I think the day that it happened on December 15th, I think I put up a video about it that day. And I'll have to maybe put that video like in a community post and see what it says. Because I was thinking, gee, what a small area this is, and what are the chances of two epic, ginormous, problematic, violent situations happening 30 days apart? And that was before knowing about the Payne brothers connection potentially to Kopaka. That was before knowing a lot of things. That was before knowing that the sniper that had the kill shot is a full-time sergeant. Actually, I don't know that he's a full-time sergeant. He's a sergeant with Wazoo, and usually sergeant positions are only full-time, but he was not paid very much. Those sergeant positions for Wazoo are six figures, and his pay for 2021 was between 20 and 30,000. So that made me think that maybe he is part-time. Maybe he was part-time then and maybe he's full-time now. I don't know. But anyway, you go digging through these records and sometimes the records aren't accurate. But you do what you can with that. So finding out that who is that? Brett Boyd, the sergeant for Wazoo that had the kill shot with Brent Kopaka, finding out that he worked for Wazoo and all the problems with Wazoo, and Wazoo being overseen by the same police chief that had interviewed Koberger at Pullman PD. You guys, it's really small. Like the walls are closing in. And I feel like I could be right. I could be onto something. And that could be why I'm having a lot of problems with my IT. Could be. It could be anything. We'll see. I started watching his videos right away, and when people were compare it to Koberger, I didn't find it to be a match, so I looked elsewhere. Uh-huh. I hear you. Yeah, well, his videos came out with a bang because he had so much insider information. And, I know that I saw some of those videos early on, but then I started getting kind of creeped out. And then I got intrigued. And so you guys, I keep getting these security alerts, which is why I'm just very tentative with this whole setup right now. Um, and yeah, if things go toe up, don't worry, I'll get a new computer. I mean, seriously. Um, where there's a will, there's a way. And, I've got a lot of security in my personal life and in my family life. So I'm not really concerned about that type of crap. But, nobody wants to deal with that. And I know a lot of the channels have been dealing with it. So, exactly how does a decorated Army vet get taken out by a SWAT team and there's no outrage from anyone anywhere? Family, friends, vets, nobody. Kale, that is probably the biggest red flag of the whole situation. Typically, there would be major outrage by the veterans groups. And then, of course, family and friends. And what about other students? What about the housemates? You know, even if not outrage, just coming out and speaking about it. There's been crickets, you guys, 100% crickets, not even a cricket, zero cricket, negative cricket. I have a newfound of distrust of everything and everyone that I did not have before following true crime. Well, Dana, I think that that's healthy in this forum. Absolutely. Actually, I think it's pretty healthy in life in general because people can be snakes. People can be backstabbing, undermining. Friends and family can be horrible, unfortunately. I've shared with you guys, I saw a lot of that when I lived in Southern California, in Malibu, California, with surrounded by rich, famous people. They can't trust anyone, no one. They can't trust anybody with their money. They can't trust anybody with their heart. They can't trust anybody with anything because everybody is out to get them. And that's why there's a very high propensity towards substance abuse in Hollywood. And it's really sad. It kind of cracks me up when somebody like, say, Lindsay Lohan gets trashed for being a substance abuser and they just have her all over the tabloids. This was years ago, right? Or Britney Spears or whoever it is. It's usually these young women because, young women are crazy like that. And knowing that behind the scenes, they're all crazy like that, you guys. I mean, I don't want to be calling people out, but Michael Landon was a good example. He was the father from Little House on the Prairie. Everybody thought, oh, he's like Mr. Wonderful. No, that man was like a raging alcoholic, would be speeding down the highway at 90 miles an hour at 7 in the morning from the city into town. So not from town to the city, not to get to work, but more like coming back from a night in the city. Um, anyway, it's just profound how messed up things can be, and then the distortion of how we perceive things. So as an entire culture, we all perceived Michael Landon as like a perfect father, right? We all perceived Carol O'Connor as the biggest jackass in the world. And I spoke about his character a couple of weeks ago. He was the polar opposite. He was the nicest person you could ever imagine, down to earth, honest, just good and kind all the way to his core. And he had that character, Archie Bunker, because he was trying to demonstrate to everybody what idiots they were being when they were being racist, sexist, homophobes. So, we think that what we see is real. So, have you guys seen the freaking movie that they made about the criminal defendant? It's on the Investigative Discovery Channel. I think they dropped it the night before last. I watched it last night. I was floored. I was just like, are they even allowed to do that? Are they allowed to make a movie before the trial? Because they pretty much showed how the criminal defendant is 100% guilty all by his big old self. And everybody else is innocent, including the roommates. It's out of control. And what they think, because they made this movie, that's how it's going to go down, because typically, yeah, that is how it would go down. But it's really crazy. A one-way street. I didn't intentionally do a lot of research after seeing what was happening to people. I have no desire to deal with the hackers. I can help you with a VPN. What did they do to the young women in Hollywood is despicable. Well, and it's really laughable because, it's the pot calling the kettle black. So, I mean, funny, not funny, right? I sure backed off, Dana. I've done lots of research on Kylie and never had any hacking issues. Hey, Crime and Crochet, my hyper focus. I watched your whole new video, you guys. Crime and Crochet, or my hyper focus, did the Sammy unicorn video that you have to watch if you haven't watched it yet. And if you have watched it already, you probably want to watch it again and again and again if you're like me, because it's just that good. So Crime and Crochet did another video. The last one she did was, I think, about a week ago, and it's about 40 minutes long, and it's a breakdown of that same interview where she just stops every so often and interjects her brilliance. And bravo, you did a phenomenal job. I'm So happy that I finally got to watch the whole thing, and I'm so happy that you're doing that. It is well done and really important, I believe. Okay. Julie Montague Ayers is still missing from Whatcom County, and her dog was with her. The reporter covering it is named Rachel Showalter, like Jack Showalter. How interesting. Is that what you're saying, Rachel Smith? Um, and thank you for bringing up the Whatcom County, because when you were talking about it the other day, I had my brain upside down. It's been so long since I've lived out in Seattle. And Whatcom County is north. It's like on the Canadian border. It's where Bellingham is. Um, and I was thinking down south, I was thinking Mount St. Helens when it was Mount Baker. So I think it's Mount Baker, Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens are like the three major mountains on that, the west side of the Cascades. Oh, it's amazing how, I lived out there for 20 years and I knew this stuff like the back of my hand, and I hiked all the time. So I really knew which mountains were where. And, it's been 15 years almost since I moved back to Ohio. So, anyway, is Rachel Showalter related to Jack Showalter? Is that something that you're injecting there, Rachel Smith, or is that just me injecting it? Because that would be pretty wild. Um, and yeah, and Julie Montague Ayers, I love that her name is Montague. That's like, from Romeo and Juliet. And wasn't she 67 years old? And that is really weird. So disappointed in the ID channel for that crap shoot. Well, it makes me think that they're really up to something. Like they're really trying to cover something up. Like that is so not cool in our country. That is so not cool. You are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. They are pretty much saying he did it. Pretty much or completely or way past he did it. I mean, it's a movie about how he did it. Every little step that he took. It's crazy, you guys. It's absolutely insane. What movie? American Princess. So it's on the Investigative Discovery Channel. It came out the night before last, I think. I watched it last night. And it's called, I think it's called the Idaho 4 or something like that. The Koberger movie. Something just real generic, if anybody remembers. If you want to, Nico, if you remember and want to just type in the name of it. Oh, there you go. you're on it. I don't subscribe to TV because it's all garbage, right? Well, and sadly, Dana, I think a lot of true crime is absolute garbage. Is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like less and less channels have any relevancy at all, in my opinion. The movie was called Idaho Murders, Sunday night on ID and streamed elsewhere. Leonard Love says, good morning. American Princess says, thank you. You're welcome. Who's which YouTuber's video? Seema Turn. Are you asking about the video in the I put a couple of links in the description. So one of them is to Watch the Obsession from about a month ago that has the TikTok video at 1 hour and 44-minute mark. That TikTok video of somebody with their cell phone tape recording or making a video of their computer screen, but it's black and they're just like videotaping their keyboard and them talking. It's like they're really taunting the public with, you can see me but you can't see me. And that I see you, remember, I see you too, was one of the posts that Kopaka put up. And that I see you too is like a lot like the one eye looking profile. And there's a lot of stuff with that theme, you guys, the whole I see you. And in Kopaka's post, he spelled CSEA. So Sima, the that TikTok video, which I'm hoping to get the video by itself so I can just like post that maybe on my community page. And then people can do their own voice comparison. I'll just post it by itself and people can just do what they want with it. Um, so I have been saying for a few days that I think one of these true crime channels is somebody that works in the Moscow PD. Definitely, he's law enforcement, whoever it is. He's 100% law enforcement, and he knows way too much about the case. So uh, he was either involved. He was involved in some way. Okay, so probably from the law enforcement angle. Let's just go with that. Um, Freaking crazy, crazy, crazy. My channel, if you'd like to watch my video, oh, thank you, Crime and Crochet, and thank you so much for doing that. I am just so grateful for people not giving up on the Kylie Rodney case because that is 100% BS. That girl, talk about betrayed, indicted in public opinion. Yeah, yeah. It's like the judge and the jury right there. And I wonder what Brian meant by he can't wait to be exonerated because that's not saying he's innocent. Right. Exonerated is a term of being uh, charged, being found guilty, and then actually being found innocent. I think it is being found innocent, but it's after being found guilty. So being wrongly accused, being wrongly convicted, then you get exonerated. You can't be exonerated until you're convicted. And I think that a lot of times when people are exonerated, it is because they're innocent. But let me read what you said again. I wonder what Brian meant by he can't wait to be exonerated because that's not saying he's innocent. Right. He didn't say I'm innocent. He just said that he's looking forward to being exonerated. And it could just be that he was being a manipulative twat, right? And trying to make people think and trying to make people scratch their heads and make people wonder. Um And let's see, I'm hoping to get 100 subs soon, and then I am going to do my first live. I think you need 1,000 subs, Crime and Crochet. Is that what you meant? Because, yeah, you probably have way over 100. Don't you have like closer to 800 or more? But yes, you guys go to Crime and Crochet and like and subscribe and share it with your friends so that she can do lives. That would be awesome. I would love it. Oh, goodness. This is so annoying. So, yes, yes, yes. And Crime and Crochet, I love the cool, colorful crocheted stuff in your photos, like your wallpaper and I don't know if your icon has it. It looks like your icon is probably crocheted, like a flower with the pink in the middle and the lavender around the outside. But man, the stuff in your wallpaper is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Um, Now I understand. Okay, cool, Sima Turna. I hope that I did a decent job of describing. Again, thank you so much for being here, you guys. I'm just so happy to be able to make this live right now with all of these problems with the software or with my laptop. I'm not sure which it is. I've got my IT crew on it, and I'm sure that they'll have it resolved by the end of the day. And if not, I seriously would just get a new laptop because we need a new one anyway. One of ours just died, so I could get a new laptop and get that up and running, and then eventually get the bugs worked out of this one. Um, oh, cool. Betty Smith sub just now. Excellent, you guys. Keep subbing, and then maybe she can do a live by tomorrow. That would be so cool. Seriously. Let's get Crime and Crochet or my hyperfocus everything so she can go live. Absolutely. BK's lawyer said he was exonerated. Oh, you know what, Rachel? That's a really good point. His lawyer is the source for that. I subbed Crime and Crochet. Excellent, excellent. Hey, people. Hey, Myra. Do you have a favorite place you have lived? You know, I love every place that I live, I absolutely fall in love with. You absolutely cannot live in San Francisco and not leave your heart there. San Francisco's incredible. I love DC. I love Ohio. I loved the Seattle area. I say loved past tense because I don't think I could do that again. But I called that home for 20 years. There's just a lot of things about it, and especially with all the changes there. But anyway, California's amazing. Southern California, amazing. Um, I've lived a lot of cool places, but there's just no place like home. And I love Ohio. So I if I had to pick one, that's probably it. And I love that people are like, what? But don't tell anybody because I don't want people to know how cool Ohio is. I'm just like, yeah, there's nothing to see over here. An exoneration occurs when a person who has been convicted of a crime is officially cleared after new evidence of innocence becomes available. It's perhaps the legal term for to be innocent. Excellent. Thank you for that. That is awesome. I can go live now, but I set a target of 100 subs before I do one. I have 89 right now. Did they change it? Because I thought it was that you had to have 1,000 subs to have. It's like a certain mile marker. Is it 4,000 viewing hours? There's other factors. So it's like if you hit one of them, then you can go live, I believe. So so yeah, I can't believe you only have 89 right now. I know that you haven't done that much, but just that flippin' unicorn video needs to go viral. Do you guys know how to make something go viral or how to like give it a boost to go viral? Because I don't, but I think if you have it on all the different social media platforms, it would. And going viral is not a specific number. It just means that it's multiplying, that friends are sharing it with friends, right? And sometimes things go viral immediately, and sometimes they're more like a sleeper and it takes a little bit. So if your cute unicorn video could go viral, then that would probably get you as many subs as you wanted. We don't discuss specific locations here, Betty Smith. Ah, Kale, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, I can be specific about places that I've lived before for sure. And yeah, I've lived all over the West Coast. So, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Oregon, Olympia, Washington, north of Olympia, Washington, the Seattle area, the greater Seattle area, and Washington, D.C. So, I love it all. You know, there's always going to be good things about everywhere, and there's going to be downfalls about anywhere too. Um, I think JLR has full video. Oh, of the TikTok video. Is that what you're saying? Morning all. I subbed also Crime and Crochet, and I just love the name of your channel, Crime and Crochet, or my hyper focus. I just think it rocks. And thank you so much for being my mod. Thank you, Kale, also for being my mod and for being here. And thank you, everybody, for subbing to my channel and being here in the chat, because you're not allowed to be in the chat if you're not a sub, but I have it set so that you can sub and instantly be in the chat. So anyway, I thought you started your channel by going live. I thought it was 1,000 to get advertisements. No, but you could be right about part of that. I think you are right about part of that. No, you can't go live at first. Like I remember having to get to 1,000 subs so that I could go live. I adore your background colors. Oh, thank you. I have fun with it. I really have fun with it, with all the lights and the fairy lights and the candles, all that jazz. But I also don't want to be distracting myself or anybody with it. I want to focus, because it took us a lot to get here, didn't it? Has anyone heard of the Jill Dando case in Britain? It took 7 years for them to let the guy they framed out of prison. Shocking case. She was shot on her doorstep and blamed a stalker for that one. Wow. So you guys have heard the phrase, the fix is in, right? I mean, of course, I've heard that phrase always, forever and always. And it took me a while to really know what it meant, but I think I really knew what it meant with this case getting underway. And I have no desire to defend the criminal defendant if he's guilty. I have zero desire, but he needs his day in court, you guys. If he's guilty and he did it, then yes, give him full discipline and punishment to the highest extent of the law. If he's a patsy, that means we have very dangerous people at large. So it needs to be determined. And if you're being set up by people in powerful positions like that, yeah, it's called getting railroaded, because there's no way you can get off those tracks. It doesn't matter if you know that you're being railroaded. It doesn't matter who knows you're being railroaded. Nothing can stop the railroad from going down the tracks. So that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that the fix is in. This criminal defendant is being railroaded to take the entire fall when it doesn't seem possible that he could have done it by himself. The roommates, law enforcement is not responding appropriately to the long delay that the roommates had in calling 911. There was also a very long delay in a 4-hour response time from the detective, the lead detective on the case. A 4-hour response time? No, absolutely not acceptable, period. So that made 12 hours. That made sure that all of the evidence was disintegrated to the point that it could not be determined time of death. So, you know, they've been trying to pin it into this 16 minutes of 4:04 to 4:20 a.m. I had a crazy thought yesterday, you guys, after sharing with you about the brains that were on the dumpster outside of the fraternity, and I only learned about that from watching Jay is for Justice, so I want to give her a huge shout out again. She got that information from a public records request to the police department. So she got a lot of recent calls. And so that was a call from 2 days after this event. And it was from the father of somebody that he dropped off his kid at the frat house. And then as he was driving away, I think it was that he said he saw the brain on the dumpster and thought, how weird, but didn't call law enforcement until the 15th when he found out what had happened later on the 13th. And Brett Payne took that call. Corporal Brett Payne, the same guy that's in charge of the case, is the one who took that call. And in his notes, he said that it was probably animal brain. Probably. That means that there's a possibility that it wasn't an animal's brains. And there's only one other option. And what if it was something from a couple of people who were allegedly at that frat house at a party, allegedly until 1:45 in the morning. But remember, there was a 5-hour gap missing from 9 p.m. until 1:45 where they said they don't know where Xana and Ethan were from 9 until 1:45. And then they filled in that whole almost 5-hour gap with Sigma Chi. And then Bethany says that she was there, I think, and that she saw them, I think, is how they're getting that story to hold water, I think. But does Bethany's story hold water? because I don't trust Bethany or Dylan at all. I also don't trust the fact that we don't know where Bethany and Dylan were that night. And all I've heard definitively is that they were in the community at different varying things. In the community. Where have you heard that word before? Community. What if they were in the community with a capital C on that Saturday, November 12th? What if they were? What if they were? A lot of what ifs. OMG, tree hugger. What? I missed a whole bunch. I apologize. So the entire affidavit leaves an impression, especially as they altered the previous narrative, which sought to fit BK into the crime instead of fitting the crime to a red rummer, possibly BK or not. Very interesting. And what a weird question, Tree Hugga. I'm not going to read it out loud. Thank you for asking that weird question. I'm not saying that it's a bad question. I'm just saying it's a weird question. Hadn't really thought of that. Wow. Holy caboli Batman. All right. Wow. It's good to ask questions. I don't feel like I have the answers. I feel like I have some questions. Why was the brain matter not tested? OMG. Well, if it wasn't called in for a couple of days, it might have been gone by the time it was called in. But yeah, I mean, other people must have seen it too. And was it there? Why was it on top of the dumpster? Why wouldn't it have been in the dumpster? I mean, why would it have been not in the place where it belongs, whether that was an animal or what? Why was Jack saying he wanted to keep the girls safe at the food truck or make sure they got home safe? Looking back, that scares me. As for the knowledge of what was going to be happening that night, Dana, that is such a great point. And yeah, I mean, it seemed like a very normal, reasonable thing for a guy to say, to make sure that a couple of, let's just say, hot chicks get home safe on a Saturday night in a college town, right? That's very gentlemanly of him and very honorable and kind. But yeah, it was also weird how he responded when they had left and he didn't see that they had left and somebody brought to his attention that they left, and just his whole like body mannerisms and gestures. And you guys, body mannerisms, I can't even speak, body mannerisms and gestures tell way more than words. Way more than words. Like, just look at the photograph from the corner club, you guys. Look at how close Maddie and Kaylee are standing to Jack D in that photograph, like inches away, like practically touching. And then look at the posture of Hoodie Guy, Man Without a Face, and Adam. Their body postures are all very open, like they are kind of aimed towards the girls. Like they want the attention of those girls. In my perception, that's what I see when I look at that photo. Why they didn't release 911 calls, really astute point, Tree Hugga. Yeah, the 911 call needs to be released. Subsequent follow-up calls can be not released, but the initial 911 call is supposed to be released to the public. It's not part of the case. It's not part of the gag order. Usually. There's always exceptions. So that's what we're dealing with here. But it could be, all somebody has to do is file a lawsuit and say that they're not abiding by the law, and then they'd probably release it. So we can do that, you guys. Any one of us could file a lawsuit. We could make a public records request, and then when it's denied, we could get a lawyer to take it up. And that's usually how you get those records released. But obviously you have to have money for that. So it's usually like news channels and newspapers that have those attorneys in-house that do that all the time. Sima Turna says, no, OMG, OMG, OMG. And I'm not sure what that's about. That was 14 minutes ago. Welcome to True Crime, where we have everything to hide. 911 calls are usually released to the public during the investigation. They are usually released immediately. Like you can ask for it same day. That's the way 911 calls are. And that, again, that's the initial 911 call. If it's follow-up calls, those can be kept under wraps with the rest of the case while it's still active. How fun for you, Betty Smith says. Have you heard a police call from a gentleman concerned about the crows flocking to the house that morning? No, Dana, I've been wondering about these crows. That's the thing with Blue Sky Realty. I had been looking that up. I'm like, what is up with the crows and the Blue Sky Realty? Wow. What is up with that? Questions which lead to more questions. The C word is a possibility, but why those students? We must have a connection here too. Well, I still think the OnlyFans is what we're dealing with, and the sororities. That's what I think is behind it. Yes, Dana, that was Sage France Tish, Blue Sky Realty, Moscow native. Thank you, Rachel Smith. Yeah, so what, he called 911 to say there was a bunch of crows? Who'd he call? That's weird. Why would he call the police because there's crows? That's bizarre. And when was that? I just finished a great book, Confessions of a Serial Killer by Catherine Rumsland. The true story and very eerie, like BK. Right. Catherine Rumsland, isn't that the professor from DeSales University that's like the expert on BTK? Battery is running low. Okay, I've got that right here. I had it plugged in and then I don't even remember why I unplugged it, but that should not be a problem. Okay, phew. Easy fix right there. And there is a picture of Kaylee at a voodoo shop. What? Tell me more. I mean, voodoo shop. You're not talking about like the hookah shop, are you? The vape shop? It's nonfiction. A one-way street says, did you see KR interview on a musical inner tube where she's describing her current quasi autobiography where she's Ann Hunter of the Nutcrackers? A one-way street. Everyone should check out some Ramsland interviews. They're very insightful. Shows us how Brian was taught to think about and analyze crimes. He called 911 because the amount of crows was concerning to him. That is so crazy, though. Like, that is crazy. I would never think to call 911 because of a whole bunch of birds. Like, I would think maybe animal control. He stated in the cold that crows usually come around after unaliving, so he was asking for a wellness check. When was he asking for a wellness check? I am so perplexed. I didn't mean to say cold. I figured. Okay. He stated in the call, right? That's what that was. I wonder how many crows it takes to call in for police. Well, right. I guess if it was like, 10,000 crows, maybe I'd call 911. Sage is Blue Sky in Moscow and Green Grass in Pullman. He's playing both sides of the fence. So Blue Sky Realty is nationwide, right? So he's like the one there. And I think it's the only Blue Sky office realty office in the entire state of Idaho is the one in Moscow. I think the court case is going to be very interesting considering what we know, in my opinion. I'm afraid he's going to get kopaka'd, quite frankly, Alistair Grant. I hope that I can be proven wrong because I want there to be justice. I want there to be justice. Um, and, you know, when people are kopaka'd, that's to hide, that's to cover up. Like Adam, Adam in the case of Crystal Turner and Kylan Schulte from Moab, from the Gabby Petito case, from the Brian Laundrie case. That guy, Adam, that supposedly unalived them, just so happened to unalive himself. And then they had that whole big thing right before this happened. Didn't they have that whole big thing at the end of December, like December 26th or 29th, where all of a sudden they had this big PowerPoint presentation where I thought that that was done and dusted over the summer? That's weird. The timing is weird. Because, yeah, I want to say it was the week of December 26th. I'll have to go look. If anyone wants to look it up before we wrap up, we're getting close to an hour. So again, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm so happy to see you and to have this live. I think the court case is going to be very interesting. Crows are carrion birds who may have been attracted to the smell of flesh. Sorry, that's gross, but a fact about carrions. Yes, that word always reminds me of Fiona Apple. She has got a great song about that. So it says that my battery is still low. It's ignoring the fact that I plugged it in. This case is crazy. There's a creator saying the 4 were sacrifices. That is crazy. It's absolutely insane. And it's quite possible, in my opinion. It's 100% crazy. I sure hope that's not what it was, but anything's possible. I believe. I mean, it's just so vile. It's so evil. It's so dark. KR is Catherine Rumsland, and also KR is Justice for Kylie. Good point, Kale. I know. I was thinking that same thing. The morning of the 13th was when the guy called about the crows, Dana? November 13th? Like, oh, before the 911 call from inside the house. Dana. Man, that is an epiphany of a comment right there. Holy smokes. So the guy from Blue Sky Realty called 911 because he was concerned about crows at 1122 King Road, and he asked for a welfare check. Did they do the welfare check? A murder of crows. Kale, thank you for saying that. Isn't that funny that they call a group of crows a murder? Not an unaliving of crows, but a murder of crows. It's like a gaggle of geese. Nice to see your new background with all the new lights. They look great. What was your inspiration? Also, could you say hi to my friend MIC? Thanks. Could I say hi to your friend Mike? Are you asking me to get a mic? I could get a mic. I know I don't like when I'm listening to my videos. I don't like the edge on like S's. So I've figured a fuzzy mic like Harsh Realities would probably take the edge off of those noises. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I'm saying that because all the others in the case will be in court as well. Thank you very much, ma'am. 90 watching, only 52 likes. Please like and sub. Thanks for saying that, Kale. And yeah, that's a nice size group. Thanks for being here. I love that song. Oh, I love everything Fiona Apple. She's amazing. Absolutely. And she wrote all of those songs when she was a teenager. She had been essayed when she was 12 years old, I think right outside of her apartment in New York City. And that whole first album of hers was her healing. Really amazing kid, huh? And she's still an amazing adult. I've watched some really, really cool YouTube videos that she's been putting out, just talking about her career and her life. Do you know which creator said that a one-way street? And thank you. To make the videos resume, I do not always have time to see long videos. Oh, yeah, I've been really enjoying doing the Cliff Notes. It's a lot of work, but I've been digging it. So I'm glad that that's beneficial for you. And it's funny, I think that the lives get more views than the Cliff Notes. People really like lives. So, and most lives are so long. So having a 1 hour live is kind of a nice short style. Um, the cat is moving the curtain, so we're getting a lot of bright sunlight coming in. Hold on, where are we at here? Um, Thank you for letting us have a safe spot to discuss difficult topics. Helps mental health a lot. And mental health and physical health are just so important. Oh, and I wanted to show off my Mr. Rogers mug again and also drink some coffee to keep my brain working. The Audacity will tell you the code by the 911 dispatch. I don't know what came of the call, but probably no report. They don't report a lot of the calls. So how do we know that there was a call? Did the guy say that? Is that how we know? And yeah, the police probably wouldn't have said, "Oh, okay, there's a bunch of crows, let's go show up." But that would have been nice if there would have been a response earlier. But also, if they didn't want there to be a response, they would have been mad that he was calling, right? If they were trying to let that 12 hours pass. I'm not accusing nobody of nothing. The network name, though. That's ridiculous. These weren't sacrifices of any kind. They were outright cold blood killings because BK was obsessed with BTK. Smitty the kitty, we don't know that BK is guilty. He needs his day in court. Like, seriously, we do not know that. I know he looks guilty as sin. He looks absolutely guilty as sin, but that's called optics, and that's not appropriate, in my opinion, and in the opinion of our American judicial system. Myra says the November 13th call, the crow call is nothing to do with the case. It's getting put out because, in my opinion, they now know that we know the crime was still going on. So, what time on November 13th? That's so freaking crazy. Animals will always tell the truth. All killings are a sacrifice of life for WE reason. Just saying. Sassafras, I think that's a good point. Right, whether it's formal or informal. I assume that you're talking about the 911 call for the unconscious person. The wellness check is also November 13th, but not to the King residence. I saw that a one-way street. I don't know what to make of it. I just subbed to Plunder for posting the 3/2/22 body cam footage. Wicca ties Moscow to Summer Wells and Kylie Rodney. Oregon old intelligence. Um, hmm. Did Plunder just post today a body cam footage from March 2nd of 2022? I'll have to check that out. Hi there, didn't get the notice. Got a rewind. Have a great day. Not so dumb blonde. Yes, hello and goodbye. Thanks for saying hi. And yeah, we're just about to wrap her up. Also, the home was put on hold for cleaning because BK lawyers had another forensics team come in there for his defense. Right, right. But that was like, that was just all kinds of whack. That was just all kinds of whack. I mean, I honestly, I don't know how that would be handled as far as the hazmat crew so that it doesn't become a hazardous nightmare, just a liability. Um, and then trying to preserve the evidence. Will it truth seekers please cite your source when putting things from other chats or speculative theories? It's fine to have alternatives. Yeah, we need to be really careful because if we put something in chat or I say something off the cuff that's just an opinion or that's incorrect, somebody might run with it and then it just can be an unraveling of sorts. What about the mystery men that went in? Dana, thank you for pointing them out. Yeah, those four dudes with was it four or five that went in the middle of the night? And I am just so grateful that the News Nation paparazzi was there to capture them on videotape pulling up and going in. They went in for like a minute or two, right? Like no more than like 5 minutes at the most. A long time ago when Lana was airing the ride along Queen King body cam footage. Interesting. Um, can't remember the channel name, Dana says. Okay. No problem, you guys. Thank you so much. I am going to sign off. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and get your exercise, get your rest, your relaxation, your proper nutrition, high protein, and lots of veggies and fruit. And be kind, be productive, be forgiving, be honest. Just do your best. That's all we can do each day. Um, and that's it. Peace out, you guys. Sending you light, sending you love. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are just the greatest crew I could ask for. I just couldn't be happier. Um, all right. Interesting to know what Kate. Oh, I know. Myra. Yeah, I'm glad I read that one. It would be interesting to know what Kaylee was texting to the entire time she was at the food truck, 10 minutes. Right. I mean, that could just be her normal, but she seemed very engrossed. Absolutely. Have a great day, and hopefully things will be on track tomorrow morning, 9:30. Fingers crossed. Um, all right, you guys, and thanks for your patience.